Hello and welcome to Obscure Movie Reviews, where we love to take a look at some of the more unknown and ambiguous titles in cinema history. Here we focus on movies that are hard to find, on the older side, relatively unknown, or perhaps they simply lack in popularity. So grab a snack and pack your bags, campers, as we embark on a ton of fun with Heavyweights. When portly adolescent Jerry is forced by his parents to go to Camp Hope, a summer camp intended to help him lose weight, he's less than enthusiastic. But he quickly makes some new great friends and decides to give the camp a real chance. Unfortunately, everything is turned on its head when the campers are introduced to the new owner of Camp Hope, Tony Perkis, an unhinged man bent on turning the summer camp into a weight loss infomercial. As a kid, I remember this movie fondly as my introduction to Ben Stiller. As an adult, I get a lot more of the jokes and just consider it comedy gold. But it shocks me how many people still haven't seen this movie despite it being available on popular streaming platforms. Younger audiences, take note. Anyone familiar with 90s movies aimed at youth will immediately recognize a lot of the child actors. Aaron Schwartz, Shaun Weiss, and Kenan Thompson would all make their claim on the Mighty Ducks franchise. While only Kenan Thompson would go on to have a high amount of success in his later career, they all bring their A-games to this film. The adult cast isn't bad either. Tom McGowan, Alan Covert, Tom Hodges, and Leah Lale all bring fun performances. Comedy is often subjective, but comedy performances generally aren't. And all of these performers bring memorable life to their characters, with much of the supporting cast bringing some of the funniest parts of the movie.
Please put your fat finger down!
However, the standout performance is by far Ben Stiller. His manic energy is something he would become known for in the 90s, before he went on to play more subtle and subdued comedic roles. Here, he's every kind of crazy and just a blast to watch.
Do you think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy.
If he wasn't enjoying himself on this film, you'd never know it. Overall, the performances are a lot of fun, and compared to a lot of other comedies in the mid-90s, the performances here will get a score of 7 out of 10 for being a good time to watch. The story starts off a little slow, but once we get to the camp, it picks up quite a bit. For a movie that takes place over an entire summer, it never drags. The movie does seem to have almost a double ending. We get to what appears to be the climax of the film, and then there's another 15 minutes until the end. However, the ending has a really nice payoff, so it doesn't feel forced like other movies that do similar things. At an hour and 40 minutes in length, it actually goes by really quickly.
Attention campers, lunch has been canceled today due to lack of hustle. Deal with it.
And with all the characters being so likable, it's really hard to lose interest in what's going on. So this movie is going to get a 9 out of 10 for being very well paced. Heavyweights is pretty well photographed, and there are a few really well crafted shots.
The cinematography, the editing techniques. Oh, I must say, the villain was a bit over the top.
However, it isn't doing anything new. Generally speaking, the movie's easy to watch, and the quality that Disney put into it is perfectly fine for the mid-90s comedies coming out at that time. The camp setting gives quite a few locations, and they use all of them, making this camp feel just huge. I think all the kids would lose weight just by constantly walking from one end to the other. All in all, the cinematography comes out as average 90s fare with a score of 5 out of 10. Well recorded and easy to listen to, with a few over-the-top sound effects, which all add to the comedy. The music choice is a mixture of mediocre to popular hits of the era, as is standard with comedies like this. The end credits have a fun song that's sung by the cast members that's kind of entertaining. Ultimately, the soundtrack will score a 5 out of 10 for being pretty safe and average. The plot itself is actually one of the more interesting elements of the film. In some ways, it's almost two stories in one. On the one hand, you have the young overweight kids learning how to stand up for themselves and take charge of their lives. On the other hand, you have the over-the-top stereotypical infomercial health nut that we all remember seeing on TV while you waited for your favorite cartoons to come on in the late 80s and early 90s. The two stories come together when the kids decide to fight back against Tony and his intense and rather dangerous methodology. In truth, this man wouldn't be able to operate for long. He's verbally abusive, physically abusive, and violates several laws along the way.
Look, I don't think it's healthy to subject
Healthy?
kids.
Oh, healthy. Ooh, the fat man is gonna tell me what's healthy.
Some of the jokes might not settle well with people who are sensitive to body shaming, but the overall message about taking on personal responsibility for one's own health is a very positive one.
We start respecting ourselves, no one can touch us. You heard me right. We're as good as anybody, and it's about time we started acting that way.
I wouldn't call it entirely unique, as there were a lot of movies out already about the adventures going on at summer camps, but this one will get a 7 out of 10 for being one of the good ones. In general, this movie's a fine rewatch. I don't know that you would really glean anything new from it on a second watch other than what I said earlier about getting more of the jokes as an adult than as a kid. However, having recently given it a revisit, I had just as much fun with it this time around. While it probably won't be an immediate go-to for many, myself included, it certainly is worth coming back to occasionally. So it gets a 5 out of 10 for having average rewatchability. At the end of the day, I really enjoy this film. If someone who has never seen it would ask me if it was good, I'd recommend that they see it at least once in their lifetime. This is one of Stiller's earliest roles and serves as a great example of things to come from him, and there are definitely some awesome laugh-out-loud moments.
Josh Birnbaum, step on up. Get on the scale, son. All right. Get off the scale.
For my money, it's a 7 out of 10 for being a good watch. If you're looking for a cheap laugh with a feel-good ending, this might be the one for you. With all that said and done, Heavyweights will weigh in at a 6.43 and be easily rated as a good movie for kids and adults alike. Thanks everyone for checking out that obscure movie review. If you have any other obscure movies that you'd like us to take a look at, feel free to comment down below. And of course, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be updated about our latest content. Content like this.